First of all, in relation to the Gateway project, taxpayer watchdog Maureen Bader has called the Portman Bridge expansion project a boondoggle. I just would like a response, please, to that.
I have no idea what she means by that. I think we're going to get good value for that. I think it's going to reestablish a transit line for the first time in 20 years. I think it's going to provide for not just better goods movement, but it's going to provide for people to get home closer. I think it's a competitive bid. It was a well-done bid, and I think it's going to be a great project.
Second question. Where in the world has expanding road capacity resulted in a reduction in greenhouse gas emissions?
If it was only expanding road capacity, then that would be, I think that would be a legitimate question. First of all, it's expanding transit capacity. For the first time in 20 years, as I said, there's going to be a transit service.
An awful lot of road capacity, but it's going to just bring in a lot more cars and add to the greenhouse gas emissions.
Right now in the Lower Mainland, it's about $1.5 billion a year that's lost in congestion where cars are actually kept in traffic. If you talk to the goods movement people in the Lower Mainland, you'll hear that they spend about 70% of their time stopped in traffic. That generates greenhouse gases, that generates congestion, that generates real costs to the economy. So part of the plan is not just to expand goods movement. It's also expand transit. It's also a record high investment in cycling infrastructure in the province. And it's also to think about how we design our region. So it's part of this is about designing a new urban center in Surrey where they're actively pursuing that with their new university and their new urban initiatives they're undertaking around the transit stops in Surrey. As we expand the Evergreen line into Port Coquitlam, it's about making sure that there is urban development around those lines. We are not just undertaking a significant transportation improvement for goods movement, we are also undertaking the largest single public transit investment in the history of the province, $14 billion over the next few years.
I have to quote one of your former caucus members, Gordon Price, who said in 2004 that it was an asphalt onslaught on the region. How do you respond to such a comment?
Well, I disagree with him. I think that if there was only one thing that was happening, that would be one thing. What the Portman...
But greenhouse gases is a pretty big part of your legacy as Premier.
That's right. When you look
you spoke to Al Gore last year about reducing our greenhouse gas emissions by 33% by 2020.
Correct.
How will that be achieved, alongside such a big road project?
There is a whole series of things. First of all, it's not just a road. It's not just a project to expand transportation infrastructure and goods movement. It also expands public transit for the first time in over 20 years. There's been no public transit on that route for 20 years. There'll be a rapid bus service which will get people initially, as soon as that bridge is open, it will get people from Langley to Burnaby in 23 minutes. That's going to make it a very attractive service. We're going to be redesigning the urban core so that you end up with not just with Coquitlam being a significant urban center, but Surrey being a significant urban center. We're going to increase the investments that we make in public transit generally. We've reduced the amount of carbon that's in our fuel consumption. We are encouraging other activities that encourage people to actually reduce their transportation demands generally. Tolling the bridge, for example, is generally perceived by most people to be a major area where you can control demand management undertaking. So if it was only one thing that was happening, then I hear those voices talk about it. And I understand that some people will disagree with it. But it's many, many things that are happening at once to try and make the region more livable, to reduce our impact and our greenhouse gas impact, to invest in public transit. And I think when you take all those things together, as we move to California tailpipe emissions and those other initiatives, I think you'll see actually a reduction in greenhouse gases.
A reduction through the Gateway program is already on the books.
You'll have to define what you mean by the Gateway program.
Well, what I mean the whole road building,
the
perimeter road and everything else.
Well, you can define it how you want.
How do you define it?
I define the Gateway project as public transit initiatives, as good movements initiatives. I define the Gateway project, frankly, as transportation to invite people from the rest of the world here. I define the Gateway project as port initiatives. I define it as being a sustainable, long-term economic strategy that says, yes, we're going to reduce our greenhouse gases within that context. Yes, we're going to have economic activity. Yes, we're going to have jobs. And that's going to happen across the region, across the province.
Is South Fraser or Perimeter Road part of the Gateway program?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, okay.
Just, I know that we have very little time left, so I'll just go straight to question 5, which is my last question. How do you think people will remember Gordon Campbell as Premier?
I think people will decide that for themselves. I mean, I'm pleased with where we've gone as a province over the last number of years. When I go to places like Prince Rupert, they're excited about their new container facility, economic opportunities it presents. when I sit here in the region and I see the new convention center that just opened up, thousands and thousands of people there on the weekend, that we're very proud of the fact that we came forward with a sustainable, long-term economic engine. When I think about the confidence people have in themselves in the province, I think we've made major strides over the last few years.